Welcome to the Imagination of Tales. Our story today says that there was, in a distant village, a poor mother and her son. They lived in a small mud house and worked the land for a small amount of money. The boy was called Mahmud. He was a handsome, righteous young man who was dutiful to his mother. He dreamed of marrying one of the village girls, but no one would agree to marry his daughter to him because of his and his mother's poverty. The mother's name was Fatima. She was a faithful and patient woman who worked hard in her life, as it was difficult to raise a child, take care of him, and work in the house and on the land at the same time. Mahmud's father died 2 weeks after his wife gave birth. Fatima decided not to marry again after her late husband. She was satisfied with what God had allotted her. She made her son feel confident in God and content with fate and destiny. One day, Mahmud and Fatima were working on the land that belonged to a rich elderly man called Mr. Hussein. Suddenly, Fatima and her son heard a metallic sound, so they stopped working. They looked at what they were digging and found a closed iron box buried in the ground, so he opened it with great difficulty and was surprised by the precious treasure inside it, which contained a lot of gold, silver, jewels, and pearls. He was amazed and happy with what he saw and thought that they had become rich and that the days of hunger, cold, and poverty were over. He said to his mother, "Oh, mother, what shall we do with this treasure? Shall we take it with us to our home and enjoy it in our lives, or shall we hand it over to the owner of the land who is its true owner? I am afraid that this treasure is cursed and will bring us misery and calamity, and that God will hold us accountable for it on the day of judgment." Fatima looked at him with tenderness and wisdom and said to him, "Oh, my son, an unlawful morsel will not satisfy your hunger or fill the emptiness in your heart. Provision is from God, and He is the one who gives to whomever He wills without account. This treasure may be a test from God to see what you do with it and what your position is towards it. Do not let Satan whisper to you, and do not forget that the owner of the land is its owner, and that taking it from him unjustly is theft and injustice. So have confidence in God and hand over the treasure to the owner of the land, and I am confident," he said to him, "he will reward you for your honesty and truthfulness." Ali listened to his mother's advice and decided to hand over the treasure to the owner of the land. He went to Mr. Hussein, the owner of the land, and told him what he had found on the land. He said to him, "Sir, have mercy on my curiosity. When I saw the box, it never occurred to me that it was a treasure, so I opened it. Please excuse me and forgive me for what I did." Then he gave him the box. When Mr. Hussein saw the treasure, he was very happy and thanked Mahmud for his honesty and truthfulness. He said to him, "Mahmud, you are a good and brave young man, and I owe you a lot. This treasure is the legacy of my ancestors, who buried it in the ground many years ago for fear of wars and calamities. I forgot where it was and could not find any trace of it until you came and found it. Choose whatever you want from it and take it as a gift from me. Ask for whatever you want, and your need will be fulfilled, God willing. It is your land and a treasure, and I have no right to ask for anything, sir. I have only done my duty." "Mr. Hussein, do you mean Mahmud, my father?" he said. "Father, yes, my daughter. I see him as a good husband for you, God willing. But if you have another opinion, then there is nothing wrong with him, my daughter, because marriage is fate and should not be forced." Zainab was happy in secret, as she also liked Mahmud and was attracted to his interest in his mother and his keenness that she not tire herself out on earth too much, and his honesty in working with her father. She always used to say that he was poor but rich in his morals and upbringing. Zainab said to her father, "No opinion is higher than yours, father. If you see him as suitable, then I am satisfied with him as a husband, God willing." The father called Al-Ghalai and said, "Take the carriage and go to Mahmud's house and ask him to come to us with his mother." The boy carried out his master's order. Zainab said, "Father, why did you ask for them at this night if I could stay until tomorrow morning?" Her father interrupted her, saying, "My daughter, just as I was happy with the treasure of my ancestors and finding a good husband for my daughter, the right thing is for me to return the happiness to the one who was the reason for finding this treasure." Then Mahmud came with his mother, and they did not know the reason for this invitation, especially since it was outside their working hours. Mr. Hussein received them with words of a nice welcome. Mahmud's mother said, "I was very worried when the boy invited us, but seeing the joy on your face reassures my heart, sir." Mr. Hussein said, "Rest assured, mother of Mahmud, I am very happy today. Mrs. Fatima, it is customary for the father of the young man to ask the girl's hand from her family. But today, I want to tell you and Mahmud that I am honored to have Mahmud as a husband. For my only daughter, he will not be a son-in-law to me, but rather like a son to me." Fatima's eyes teared up with joy and looked at her son. Mahmud preceded her by saying, "The honor is mine, sir. But as you know, we are a poor family, and it is very difficult for me to offer you a life card similar to the life you are living now. I do not want to disappoint you or be the reason for your daughter's misery." Mr. Hussein smiled and said to him, "Mahmud, you deserve my daughter Zainab, and she deserves you too. As you know, Zainab is my only one, and I have reached the age I have reached, so everything I own will be for you and your children. And the treasure that I found today is yours, without me touching anything of it. I also want to provide you with additional information about Zainab is a contented person and is satisfied with whatever God has decreed for her, no matter what the decree is. Zainab will be a good wife for you, God willing." Mahmud said, "The only thing that prevented me from proposing to her was my poverty. My master, you have honored me by marrying Zainab, and I will live up to your good opinion of me." The father said, "Let us hasten your marriage, for I and Mrs. Fatima would like to see our grandchildren, don't we, Mahmud?" Fatima said happily, of course, I have always waited for this day." And so Mahmud married Zainab, and they lived in their new home. They were happy and blessed, and God increased their provisions and bounties and blessed them with good offspring.